Wrapping some cigars over here.
So, what a rewrap is one where
The wrapper's
the
no good, so
wrapper's
she gotta
dried
redo
or
it.
something, or
Yeah. So she's replacing the wrapper.
The outside wrap is actually dried out.
Something's happened where it's damaged or the cap's messed up.
it's nice that you can do that. I didn't realize you could do that.
You just peel it off like an onion skin, rewrap it.
Wow, that's cool. So
Yeah,
you
need to
discover
redo
these
this.
going through a quality control process after the aging room, or?
Oh yeah, you better believe it. Yeah, these cigars, they retail for about $16 to $22. So they're definitely on the higher end for cigars that our company makes. Each one's got to be perfect, you know. So.
My experience yeah, one of my good friends, he in North Carolina, he's got a buddy, he can still get Cubans.
Yeah.
And I gave him some of these the first time I came. He was so impressed. I got him more. He was like, they're fantastic.
They're very earthy, very woody, very sweet.
I like the sweet part.
It's kind of like if a rye whiskey became a cigar. That's what this is.
It's like well,
A rye whiskey is like
oh yeah,
rye
yeah,
whiskey.
okay, good analogy. Yeah, yeah.
So you can see, you know, the tobacco they're using might look a little bit similar, but completely different blends and completely different shapes of cigars. Every single one's unique, you know. Even when they package it back here with no name yet. Top secret cigar.
And this back here is a press here.
Your blend, yeah, you got the Apple Watch and the gold.
This press here, is it only like certain ones go in something like that? Like
No, when you make a cigar, you have to bunch tobacco ahead of time.
So that's for bunching it before actually finishing it. I got you.
Let me see, has anybody got any bunches ready?
So
This
it
is the
takes
mold, obviously.
so
You
it
got
takes
these
the
slotted molds.
basic shape.
Right, you roll up the long filler into the binder and you put it in the molds for like an hour and a half.
Okay.
It gets pressed until it comes out and it looks like a cigar. And then you put the wrapper on top.
Gotcha.
So in the old days when we didn't have presses, you'd have to kind of roll the cigar, and that's why everybody made so many figurados back then. It was a lot easier to make a figurado if you're just kind of freestyle rolling
Right.
a football. And that's also why back in the old days, box press were so popular. Because if you're not using a mold, you're going to have some irregular shapes. So you got to put them in a box press and make them all look uniform.
Like you go to a place like what used to call Disney Springs, now it's something else, and there's a Olivia or somebody has the thing, and they got a guy sitting there making them. He's hand bunching those.
Yeah, Disney Springs, unfortunately, Sosa Cigars just closed.
So, Sosa, that's what I was thinking of. They
Sosa's
closed.
gone. They
Oh,
were
that's
there
a
for
bummer.
like 52
Long time.
years.
Yeah, long time.
It was the only place in Disney you could still smoke a cigar.
Yeah, I would go in there and buy a couple in there too.
Yep.
They were good. There's no doubt the Americans were better. But
Oh, hey, check these
That's what
out.
he's doing there, right?
Yeah, that's the pressed tobacco.
oh yeah, you can see those in there.
Here, let me see if I can steal one bunch. Hector, can I have one of your bunches just to show? Can I steal one of these?
No, they wanted this one. The box.
Okay. See that? So look how it kind of looks like wood. It's a rough, unfinished cigar. It's just a rolled up binder and filler.
Now all those look a little different. They're still going to end up tasting basically the same because the
Right, 'cause it's all the same
kind of
tobacco.
batches. Same, but they look a little different.
Yep.
They're still going to have that.
You
same
kind of have to
character.
have a little bit of flexibility as a cigar maker because.
And then the wrapper, of course, will also kind of bring it together.
Right. No, but what I'm saying is when you're putting that bunch together, he's trying to make a 52 ring gauge, which is a Toro, right? And only a certain amount of tobacco fits in there. But he also has a recipe he has to follow. So he knows he needs like 2 pieces of Ligero, 1 piece of Viso, 1 piece of Seco. Those are the different types of tobacco leaf he's using. So he's putting them together and he's got to get to that certain thickness once it feels right, you know what I mean? So every cigar will have a little bit of variation, you know, depending on the texture of the leaf, but they all should be generally pretty similar in flavor profile, and you get that consistency, which a machine can't really replicate. So even though we still use the old school machines downstairs, and they're very good at what they do, which is make machine-made cigars, a handmade cigar will always be superior. You know, you've got that technical skill that comes in from a hand roller.
There are some things that we done better by machine, some things better by hand.
Yeah, I mean, that's
in
why
any industry.
we still make cigars by hand at all.
Yeah.
They're always better. I don't think there's anything in these right now, but these little cabinets here, they're for a future project. Yeah. you come in, you smoke different types of tobacco, and you come up with your own recipe for a cigar, really. So you pick out your wrapper, you pick out your bind, you pick out your filler, and if you like the recipe you come up with, we can make the box for you.
So
That's
inside
gonna
here are different tobaccos.
be, once it's gonna be,
Oh.
once it's started, yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's gonna be in the end of summer. We're gonna start doing.
So that's the
blending class.
tour. The you're going to be able to make your own cigar.
Yep.
I was reading about. Oh, cool. That's going to be neat. Won't be down here for that, but maybe next year.
Yeah, everybody has a reason to come back.
That's right.
Yeah, check this out. See all this production right here? All these cigars were made a year ago. So, Bonita, ¿tiene Churchills para las cajas? ¿Puedo usar
So,
eso, Bondi? Okay.
so these are aged and ready to package now.
Right, so, you know, if I were to take this apart, you could see the different variations in color. Let me see. You can already tell already, but, you know, obviously, these are the same cigar, but they have a slightly different wrapper color, or
Right.
shade, as we call them in the industry. So when you make a box, you want to make sure that all 20 of the cigars are the same inside of a box. So this is where you color sort them. You match the light with light and the dark with the dark. And obviously, if it's a defective cigar, if it's got a bad wrapper, you take it off the production line altogether, you know. So it certainly is a process, and this is the funny part. In Cuba, you never let men do this job. It's always women doing QC because, well, a lot of men are colorblind, right? But generally speaking, women have better attention to detail than men do. So you got to be able to dedicate and focus yourself on this task of matching cigars based off your color and then making a full box.
Interesting.
Otherwise,
I'm into manufacturing. American made specifically is my hobby, and there are so many industries where women do the more minute, fine detail stuff, like Grado headphones and cartridges in New York. Almost all of them, except for the one that's made by Mr. Grado, are all finished by ladies.
Well, that's what Medita's doing right here. She's putting the American tube together. These
This-
glass tubes are only available at the factory store downstairs, conveniently. But we're out of stock, so she's making some more boxes for us. So that's the American.
And most of
president.
them are with the American made cellophane, right?
Yeah, everything's American about the American. The box, the tube,
I love that.
the
That's so
plastic
cool.
bits, the stickers, the cigar, the tobacco, the labor. See, Mondita
So
just became an
unique.
American citizen like a few weeks ago.
Outstanding. Congratulations.
Thank you. So if someone wanted to order a bunch of these, you would still have to make them here. You couldn't send them to your Nicaragua location to have
No.
them built. They would have to be built.
We'd have to make them here, yeah. So only the American gets made here in the
Okay.
factory. The only two brands we make here actually at all are the Angel Cuestas and the Americans.
Okay.